Well, there have been huge changes to the way in which civilians have oversight of the police in the last 2 weeks. First, President Cyril Ramaphosa appointed the former Water Affairs Minister, Senzo Mchunu, as the new Minister of Police. Then yesterday in Parliament, MPs agreed that the DS Ian Cameron would now be the new chair of the Parliamentary Police Committee. Thulani Ngwenya is the president of the Police and Prisons Civil Rights Union, Popcru. Thulani, good afternoon to you and thank you for your time. Ian Cameron was an anti-crime activist before joining the Democratic Alliance. He's now with the DA. He's now chair of this committee. What kind of role are you expecting him to play?
Good afternoon, Stephen, and good afternoon to your viewers at home. Yes, it came as a surprise to us that Cameron have been appointed as an oversight chairperson. Well, because as you know that we are in the government of national unity, what is our expectation from us, from the chairperson of that committee, is to make sure that he understands his role exactly from the point of being the chairperson of oversight, monitoring the SAPS, ensuring that he also evaluates the police strategies as well as legislative amendment of the legislation. So we are expecting a very open-minded thinking chairperson who will look at what is comprises of the strategy of SAPS, where it needs to be corrected, and also the person that will be able to deal with the submissions, the reports that are coming before him, so that he stay on his role. As an activist, he is no longer now in that open environment where he speaks as he suppose they were finding one another heckling with the former minister, Comrade Peggy. So we expect him to deal with those oversight role and make sure the ability is given to him. And we also wish that we can have a discussion on him because we've got serious proposal in relation to the amendment of the Criminal Procedure Act, as well as the regulations of the police, which were promulgated in 2018, which are having a serious problem in functioning of the police. Also to deal with the issue of budget oversight, but not to be act as if he's a financial officer, a CFO of the police. When the budget is given, he must be able to say whether does it reach the destination where it is supposed to, including the proposal that was put on the table to deal with the community policing forum. So that's our expectation from the chairperson of the portfolio committee, and also to engage all the stakeholders and know exactly what are the challenges and what does the proposal of the stakeholders, and take them to parliament so that there will be initiation of legislation change.
Thulani, I mean, Ian Cameron has a very interesting past. I mean, as you point out, the former police minister, Becky Cele, told him, I'll use the phrase the minister said at the time, former minister now, he told him to shut up in a public meeting, and that became a big issue. You're right, of course, that he was an activist. An activist can bring energy to something, you know. Go back 12 years, though, and Ian Cameron also took part in a protest. He was a member of AfriForum at the time, and in fact, I don't quite know how to put this, but he actually changed the colour of his face. He painted his face black, which is a credible thing to do. But do you trust him? Let me put it like that. Do you trust him to play a constructive role?
They said first impression last. You cannot trust a person at the face value. You cannot trust a person who don't know what are his belief and what are his thinking going forward in this democratic South Africa. If he was, I will judge him on the issues that he was part of the freedom AfriForum, and also now is on the ticket of the DA. It's not for me to characterize him. He has characterized himself to say where does he belong. So he must not come with issues of partisan. As we are in the GNU, we want something that will address the issues of the police in particular. You know that we've got a serious challenge in South Africa of police killing. We've got serious challenge of resources shortage and distribution of resources. So I don't want to characterize him with the past.
Sure.
Maybe let's take, for instance, if I will characterize him with what happened between him and the nation and the provincial, I mean, the former minister of police at that time, he was still an activist. Now he's the chairperson. There's a huge difference when you become a chairperson, because you need to listen to everybody and not to become a bulldozer or want to be a attention seeker. That the public can say to you, you are the good person. Now we've got legislation, parliament operates in other ways, and his roles are clearly marked in terms of the government processes as the chairperson of portfolio committee. Is an oversight and accountability chairperson, of which that's where you need to stay and play his role over there.
And Thulani, the new minister, Senzo Mchunu, now Bheki Cele, he had a reputation. I mean, you know him better than I do, I'm sure, but he's a loud man. He goes into communities, he holds meetings. If he doesn't like you, he tells you to shut up. Senzo Mchunu, in my experience again as a journalist, he's a much quieter person. I think sober maybe is a good word. He's a sober individual. I don't know if you've had much time to deal with him yet. He hasn't said very much yet, and that's kind of in keeping with his character. What are you expecting from your previous knowledge of Senzo Mchunu?
And remember, when Minister Cele was called back, there was a campaign that said, bring back Bheki Cele. It was the public who needed Bheki Cele to come back. Senzo has been appointed by the president, of which is his prerogative. We still have to engage him, but from a point of view, looking at him at a distance, I think he's a person who listens. We have engaged with him while he was a Minister of Public Service and Administration, and it's not a totally new person. So once we have an engagement with him, we put our proposal on the table and we make sure he understands what is our wish as Popcru, and also he must tell us his short-term, mid-term, and a long-term plan. Then we'll be able then to characterize him and say what type of a person. But for now, I think it's premature and too early for us to characterize him, because he's a quiet person. We said he doesn't know everything. He has been in the politics for a long time. He has led KZN as a premier. He has worked in many government opportunities. So therefore, I think we need to give him time, like we have to give this chairperson of the portfolio committee time and engagement. When we engage and stakeholders, we also engage the minister, of which we are going to engage him soon, and we'll tell him. But on the list of our priority is clear. One is the amendment of Criminal Procedure Act. Two is the issue of the regulations in the police, and also make sure that the distribution of resources and the budget allocation meets the requirement to deal with the crime in South Africa.
Thulani Ngwenya, thank you very much indeed. President of the Police and Prisons Civil Rights Union, Popcru, do appreciate the time.